French government, who is involved in the negotiations to set up European Monetary Union. A very good evening to you, Jacques. I mean, we'll talk about the action planned today in just a moment, but first of all, why do you think the Eurozone is in crisis?
Well, the Eurozone has a financial crisis. It's not an economic crisis. The economy is doing rather well. The unemployment rate is very much in line with the historical level. The current balance is positive. There is slight inflation, so it's even slightly overheating. But to the difference of the US, the UK and Japan, the Eurozone doesn't have this very, very powerful institutional investors, money market funds, and not even the central bank would be willing to pay for the public debt. So that's where the problem is. It's a problem of financial plumbing, and then you have to, the leaders, the European leaders have to find, on the basis of the, a very slow process of experiment and democracy, they have to find a new plumbing which would avoid in the future this kind of financing problem.
But we have to be clear about this, don't we? In that countries like Greece and Portugal borrowed too much and spent too much, and although Italy may not have overspent over recent years, it did have a fundamental problem with that back in the 70s and 80s. I mean, are you saying that that is not necessarily the root cause of this?
No, it's not the cause of it, because we know from the start that there are some small called peripheral countries like Greece, Portugal, Ireland, etc., which together make 6% only of the GDP of the Eurozone. So in terms of mass, the problem posed by the debt of Greece, Portugal, Ireland is not something which is not manageable if it's properly managed at the level of the Eurozone. And let me remind you that the public debt of Japan is 225% of the GDP. The public debt of the USA, would it be only the federal debt, is $15 trillion, etc. So it's not a problem of the amount of debt. All in all, the ratio for the whole Eurozone of the public debt to the GDP is somewhere around 80%, which is very, very reasonable. It's just simply because the European continent is based as pension schemes which are based on pay-as-you-go pension systems, and therefore there is nothing like this big pension fund, institutional investors, money market fund that can buy the debt.
I mean, there's no doubt, is there, Jacques, that over the last month or so we have seen some pretty fundamental changes to the way that certain European countries operate. We've seen these technocratic governments and technocratic prime ministers move in. We've now, with this announcement today, we know that Angela Merkel and President Sarkozy certainly want to move towards removing some levels of sovereignty from some European countries. I mean, is that an element that we need to be particularly concerned about, losing some democratic status in terms of rapid change?
Actually, this was very much expected, as you know. It has appeared with the kind of experiment through which the European countries have been since 2010, after the 2009 recession. It has appeared of managing the public finance on a country-by-country level is a very bad idea. And the OECD, Stephen, you remember, is just forecasting the possibility of a recession in 2012 because of the austerity policies which are led on a country-by-country basis. Although if the public finance were managed at the general level of the Eurozone, everybody, including Germany, including France, would have a better solution. Okay, so that would bring a benefit for everyone. But managing the public finance at the level of the set of country instead of a level of a country-by-country level. This is what people call a monetary union, a fiscal union, And a fiscal union is something which is included in the treaties. So you have to make an improvement in the functioning of the whole European Monetary Union in order to include a fiscal union and a better management of situations like the one we have been through recently.
There's a very real possibility here, isn't it? We're going to end up with a two-tier Europe, the 17 and the 10.
This is a possibility which is very much theoretical. It's normal that people think of extreme scenarios in case things would go out of control in unexpected ways. There are plenty of examples in the past where, in effect, things have been lost, the control of things have been lost. But to me, it's a scenario which is not really in the cards currently. The main scenario by far is just the improvement of all the structures that make the monetary union in Europe. And this improvement for today includes the project of a fiscal union, which will require a change in the treaties. I would like to remind you that the total monetary unification of the United States took place in December 1930. So it took more than 2 centuries for the US to become a monetary zone, a country which was fully monetary integrated. The European Union has started to become monetary integrated finally not this long ago. And it's absolutely normal that we have a process of improvement, learning by doing, taking advantage of the experiments to improve the whole functioning of the system.
Jacques Régniez, fascinating to get your views tonight. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Stephen.
The US